What a season for Inter Miami. They added the club's first ever MLS Cup to the trophy cabinet after taking down Vancouver 3-1 at home. They scored a single season record of 101 goals across the regular season and playoffs, and saw their star Lionel Messi become the first player to ever win back-to-back league MVPs, while two other key members of the squad, Jordi Alba and Sergio Busquets, have retired. But they do go out as champs, and now so many questions for Miami. Where do they go from here? And Nico, they've got a couple of roster decisions to address here, including that of Luis Suárez, who is out of contract at the end of this year. He didn't play in the MLS Cup. What do you think Miami should do about Luis Suárez? Should he stay? Should he go?
I think Inter Miami should move on from Luis Suárez. In fact, when Suárez starting on the bench, Inter Miami looked better. They looked quicker. They looked more dynamic. And Tadeo Allende became the best MLS Cup playoff performer ever. And they might even have to move on beyond Tadeo Allende because his goal-scoring numbers in the playoffs have caught the attention of eyes abroad. So I wonder in attack what Inter Miami is going to look like. I mean, I don't think you're short of options to find great attacking talent. If you're Inter Miami, I would imagine it's going to be Latin American. Regardless, it does feel like this is the right time for Inter Miami to move on to better players, or at least just more dynamic options, because the theme of, I think, this Inter Miami season is that this team feels unbalanced, and there needs to be players that work for Messi instead of Messi having to do a lot of the work. And Suárez, despite his output, which was incredible this season, I'm thinking about the longevity of it all. Perhaps it's a short-term solution as opposed to something long-term for the success of Inter Miami, for the ongoing success.
Especially as, Lionel Messi is only going to be getting older and older. Luis Suárez is 38 years old at this point in time. So if Miami don't work out a deal, do you see a world in which Suárez retires, or do you think he would look elsewhere for options? Yeah,
I mean, just naturally it feels like Nacional in Uruguay would be Suárez's last dance.
Yeah.
I think people in Uruguay want to see Suárez come back home. I mean, he's a hero. That 2011 Copa America winning squad that ended up being that 2014 Cinderella run team, or before in the World Cup, in 2010, and then decently in 2014. It's the golden generation of Uruguayan football, and they almost seemingly haven't moved past that. So he'll receive a hero's welcome in Uruguay if or when he goes back.
Yeah. Well, Inter Miami is always linked with some big names. And one that, we've heard swirl around is the Brazilian star Neymar. Could he fill a DP spot for them? Or do you think that would be a poor utilization given his recent injury history and what Miami's specific needs are at this point in time?
I think between Suárez's two knees and Neymar's two knees, you don't make one healthy patella. I wouldn't even consider this if I'm Inter Miami. I get it, reuniting the Barca teammates again, Messi and Neymar together, but his track record of injuries is worrying.
He did just help keep Santos up, but
playing through injury, nonetheless. Listen, a romantic would say bring Messi and Neymar together, but I think anybody who's running a football club with any sort of prudence is saying, no, okay, Neymar is a fun option, but he's not the right option. So I wouldn't even consider Neymar.
Okay, well, for more on this, let's bring in our guy, Tom Bogert. I don't know how his knees are, but hopefully two healthy knees. Tom Bogert.
Better. I would take Tom Bogert's knees over Neymar's knees.
Okay, first want to get your thoughts on Neymar, but also the Luis Suárez contract situation as well, because the two are in a way linked.
I mean, not totally. I see your point, but Luis Suárez isn't a DP. He will not be a DP even if he does return. I was almost surprised to see that they were in talks about him coming back because there is active negotiations between Suárez and Inter Miami. I'm very curious to see where this plays out because it was clear over those last 3 games of the playoffs that this team was better when they had more fluidity, more runners, both on and against the ball than with Luis Suárez. Though Luis Suárez's output was very, very strong, as Nico said earlier, that's not exactly what this team needs to be optimized. So Luis Suárez, it looks like he's coming back for one more season. I'm not sure if it would be Miami, but they are in talks.
Bogert, talk to me about the DP slot carousel going on in Inter Miami with the Suárez situation and Jordi Alba and Busquets retiring?
So Miami had 3 designated players. It was Messi, Alba, and Busquets. Alba and Busquets have retired, so that opens 2. Well, Rodrigo de Paul, that purchase option, I know we were all waiting, very, very curious to see if it was going to get picked up, what was going to happen there. And it did indeed get picked up, as we all knew it was going to be. That fee's around $17 million. It's one of the most expensive in league history. He will obviously be a designated player next season. So they have 1 more open. And for me, as cool as it would be as a neutral, as a media member for us on these shows to talk about Neymar with this team, if it were me, I would be looking at somebody in prime or somebody young. What did we learn from this playoff run? You put Tadeo Allende and Matteo Sovetti around Messi, and the attack is even more dangerous and you're even better against the ball. When you have Lionel Messi, you don't need to worry about the attack being good. It's always going to be great. And what is going to be best for them is having young runners, in prime players around them, or younger players. So I hope that that's where they go with that third DP spot.
Yeah, well, taking a look at Inter Miami's off-season needs, Tom, walk us through this and what you are seeing right now as far as the order of priority for what Miami should be going out and getting.
So all 3 of these, I think, are absolutely crucial. The DP situation is going to be the biggest headline, so that's why I put it first. Number 2, a new goalkeeper or keeping Rocco Rios Novo and an MLS proven center back. They are in the market for both a keeper and an MLS proven center back, from what sources have told me. Look at Dane St. Clair. He's a free agent. Literally any goalkeeper, any team in MLS that needs a goalkeeper should be calling Dane St. Clair. I'm told Miami have indeed called Dane St. Clair, and they are an option for the Canadian international. I'm very curious to see where that ends up, but that is a real thing that is happening. I don't know if he ends up in Miami, but it is a possibility. And same thing with trading for an MLS proven center back. This team knows that they need to get a little bit more domestic in terms of not necessarily American or Canadian per se, but guys that have been in MLS a long time, that know the league and can kind of help control for some of those midweek games in May or June or whatever. So I know that they're active on both fronts, and those 2 are very important. And thirdly, lastly, we talked about Tadeo Allende. Are they able to keep him on a non-DP deal? Again, they do have that DP spot. It would be a little bit underwhelming no matter how great Tadeo Allende has been in the playoffs. He scored more goals than anybody else has in one single postseason. He was on loan from Celta Vigo. That loan's expired. River Plate wants him. Miami wants to keep him. It all depends on the numbers. If they're somehow able to keep it under a max TAM deal, that's going to be very difficult.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating to see who ends up in that spot, Nico.
Yeah, it's crazy sometimes when you bring Argentine players, how black and white it could be, because you bring in somebody proven from Argentina and sometimes it doesn't work. Look at Pity Martinez, for example, at Atlanta United. Tadeo Allende was relatively unknown. He was at Godoy Cruz. I actually didn't know that he was on loan from Celta Vigo. I would imagine he was at Godoy Cruz on loan from Celta Vigo. Regardless, Godoy Cruz just got relegated. And it shows how important he was to their setup. And at Inter Miami, he ended up playing so well that now River want him. I don't know.
So would you give him the DP spot then? Just to keep him? Is it that important?
Personally, no. I think if River is going to make some sort of offer, I would take that money and go find somebody else, because Inter Miami have made a great habit of finding players in Argentina to kind of.
Well, we see DPs flop all the time, Tom.
But
so
that's the problem. But
find a proven player.
This is the one thing I'll say about the Argentines at Inter Miami. I think Inter Miami gives Argentines a great context to thrive in, whereas at other clubs, from what I've heard and talking to Argentine players, they don't feel it. And beyond the numbers, beyond the stats, beyond the scouting, beyond everything, I think as a player, when you come into this league, you need to be able to feel it. And sometimes Argentine players just don't get what they get back home. And I think Argentina, and having obviously Messi, it motivates you culturally being at Inter Miami, Tom.
100%.
I would agree, and it doesn't hurt having Lionel Messi within that team. And again, the culture of this locker room, it is much more South American. It is unique around MLS, and they have done a very, very good job at that. For Allende, again, Celta Vigo is the team that is his parent club. They're going to be the ones that get to cash in, no matter where he ends up, which is why in MLS roster rules, it's not just the salary, it's a transfer fee that goes into your salary cap hit. So if let's say it's a $5 million fee, and he signs a 5-year deal, these are just hypotheticals, $1 million of his cap hit is every year. That's before his wages. So it's going to be very, very difficult to keep him under the DP threshold. And at that point, you might as well just go out and get a different DP, because
you wouldn't make him a DP,
he was
Tom.
I wouldn't. His playoff run was incredible. His beginning of the season was incredible, the first month or so. Between that, he was good. He was fine, right? And I think that there's more upside if you go for a more proven designated player or something else. Again, this is all to say I think he's a fantastic player. It's just when you get to that point, whether it's a TAM player or a DP, it makes all the difference in the world.
Tom, do you have any names that you think are good candidates to fill that DP spot for Miami?
The interesting part about MLS and even this team is that there is a very, very wide pool of names. So, you could come out with anyone that's, let's say 26 years old, that's playing really well in Brazil or playing really well in Argentina or Europe, somebody like Allende or Antoine Griezmann. It's probably not where I'd go because of the age and the stylistic fit, and that he wants the ball to his feet, kind of like Suárez. Obviously, he can move much more than Suárez at this stage of their careers. But I'd rather it be somebody that we haven't, necessarily heard of than like, oh, let it be Neymar, or we've heard the name Timo Werner. Oh, we've heard this name. Like I'd rather go a more in prime, maybe unknown. Denny Bouanga is always going to be the name that's thrown out here because he's been so good, and that's cherry picking the very best example. But LAFC signed Denny Bouanga for $5 million when none of us knew who he was. We very, very quickly learned about him. So I'd like something more like that than, say, a Neymar. All
right, well, maybe not a DP, but what about a player like James Rodriguez, who's a free agent? How would he fit into this? No?
You don't need more of that. When you have Messi, I've long been wishing that James Rodriguez would come to MLS. I think we missed that boat, particularly in terms, if he would take $1.5 million, 25 teams would want him. I don't think that he's going to do that.
Not only that, I mean, again, another track record of going to clubs, being there for a short while, not working out. He is a brilliant playmaker, so much so that he's going to play a significant role for the Colombian national team at the World Cup. But his club career has really spun out, and it doesn't really resonate with the quality that he still has for his age. Miami have a playmaker. His name is Messi, and he's the greatest of all time.
Yeah, he certainly is, and he's the back-to-back MVP in Major League Soccer. Tom Bogert, great stuff as always. Thanks for taking the time to join us this morning.
Thanks for watching this video from Morning Footy. For all news and insights regarding leagues around the world like EFL, Serie A, and all UEFA competitions, both men's and women's, don't forget to sign up for Paramount+.